one time. You make me happy.
Love you, buddy.
Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a motto to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Yep. Got scrappy in that old Kentucky playpen. When looking back now, I'm left wondering where them days went. Away went for sure, yeah, they spin. When they hates when I'm waving with that Honolulu hang 10. I'm just doing what I want. Mountains there to climb on. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you dive on. The prize must be what you keep your eyes on. A focused mind like I studied under masters up in Taiwan. Let that truth hit you. Tunes get jujitsu. Don't bitch, dude. You lace them up if that shoe fits you. We with you. Man, sometimes you gotta fix you. But no excuses, no din-dos. Man, just lay back and turn it up. Ray, word 'em up. Working on his farmer's tan underneath the burning sun. We gonna ride this cover wagon till its last wheel. Gotta love it when the music sounds just like the grass feels. Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a motto to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a motto to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Hey yo, Ray. 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 Hey yo, Ray.
All right. Here we go. Day one. Day one. All over again. It's already day one again. Can you believe that? It seems like we just added day one. Then it was day 30. Now we're back to day one. 30 days. 31. What the hell is even going on? I get out my shorts for summer and all of a sudden I'm like, it's Halloween. Today's Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Hope you have on your favorite costume or whatever the hell you're going to do to go out tonight. You know, get a couple tequilas. Escort the kids around. Hell, I don't know. Have a good time. But hell, just do it. Just have a good time. Well, fuck, I'm glad you're here. How about that? Okay, let's do it, okay? Let's check in real quick. How you doing? Are you stoked? Are you excited about what we're going to do today? You ready to touch some grass, paint the world, get it going? That's what I'm talking about, okay? Are you stoked? Get stoked, people. Now, you got that critical eye locked up? He's probably yelling at you right now, screaming in your ear, saying, you can't do this. You're going to be terrible. You're going to have a terrible time. But don't worry. Lock him in the hole because it's going to be fun. You're going to do great. I'm going to show you what's up. You know, doing this landscape painting, drawing, or whatever is like playing a game of Jenga. You know, you pull the right piece out at the right time to put it on top, you know. You don't try to eat the whole cake at once. You know, we already talked about that, didn't we? Eating the whole cake at once? Yeah, you don't want to do that. So that's what you got to do. You got to put that critical eye in the hole. And that's really what we're practicing. We're practicing being excited, not letting the critical eye destroy our excitement, and then having a schedule in order to expel that excitement outside of us. Okay, so how's your schedule doing? You doing pretty good? Day one. If you haven't done good in the past, don't worry about it. Jump on board. Do day one today. Day one. Okay, here we go. Day one. Woo! Day one. All right, we're excited about it. So we're going to go ahead and draw something. Are you ready for that? I know you got your, might be a little creeped out by it, but you got your pencil. I got my pencil. Okay, we're going to start off easy. Now, I know you already got all these damn Sharpies. Okay, I got them too. You got the fine one right there. You got the little one right there. You got the medium ones right there, and then you got the big daddy. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do that. We're gonna use those the things you already had to make them accessible. I also have an eraser, and I also have that pencil that I told you about. Nothing special about this pencil. It's just a Staedtler pencil. Just a normal 2mm Staedtler pencil, you know. The lead comes out of it, looks like that, and you put the lead back in it, and it looks like this, okay? No problem. If I can get it back in there, get back in there. Now, I love this pencil because you know why? I love it because when I'm drawing, I get a nice, flat, blunt edge. I don't know if you see it right there. It's shining. You can see it. That nice, blunt edge. You see it right there?
Yep.
Nice and flat, okay? And what that allows you to do is to put down nice and easy lines. You can erase them so easy, it's not even funny, okay? And then you can go on and correct them with the ink or whatever. And what we're going to be working on today is I got these watercolor pads. You see this watercolor pad right here? Turn it around. It's a 6x8 watercolor pad. You know, you open it up, just a brick of watercolor paper like that, and you know, when you're done, you can tear it off. Okay, I got a couple of them. I got a Strathmore, boom, one right here, and then I got I guess a different one, kind of probably like this one that I ripped the cover off of, and we're gonna go with that. Okay, but we'll probably use this one today. I just wanted to show those to you because I love doing sketches on this paper. Okay, you can also use your sketchbook or whatever the hell you want to use. Right, use whatever you want. But I'm gonna tell you a little trick. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little trick. The little trick that we're gonna use is that we're gonna use this pen and ink. We're gonna use pencil first, okay, just to get the lay down. Then we're gonna use some pen and ink. Okay, just do some pen and ink lines, maybe a shadow here and there or whatever, and leave it alone. All right. Then later, if you want to, you can practice by putting a wash of watercolor over it, or gouache, or whatever you want to put over it. You can do markers. You can make it look fun. You can make it look cool, or you can just leave it black and white. Now that's the whole secret right there. Okay, that's a nice little fun secret. You can turn one exercise into two, where you're practicing two different things for the price of one. Okay, you don't have to sit down and redraw the whole thing and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have to, you know, then, oh, I can't practice my collars, you know, and you have a hard time, and oh, I got to draw this thing first. So what I often do is I often draw a whole bunch of these, you know, pen and ink or whatever, if that's what I'm in the mood for. Then I put them all to the side. And then later on in that month or that week or whatever, I'll say, you know, I don't feel like drawing. I feel like, you know, working on my watercolor, my colors or whatever. So I take them out and I do some exercises. And it's fun. And then by the end of that, you got yourself 5 or 10 really cool pictures that you worked on that nobody even knows it was an exercise the whole time. And they're sitting there trying to pay you top dollar for it. They're giving all their money. They ain't going to the strip club no more. They're trying to give all their money to you as an artist because you're making beautiful things. Well, that's not the case. They're really going to the strip club and you're sitting there with all your pieces of art wondering, how come nobody's buying this shit? You know, that's really what's going on. So, you know, that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to jump down here. Hold on. I gotta set all this stuff up now. So here we go. Here we go. And the other thing I was going to tell you is what you're going to do is you're going to work from a picture inside. We're starting inside today. Nice and easy. Okay. So I got a picture sitting over here on my computer, my screen. I got it zoomed out. You know, so it's really small, okay? And I'm going to put it up in the screen so you can see what it is. It's a Balboa Park, okay? It's I think it's California Tower, and it's looking from a garden, so you could probably see that. I don't know where I'm going to put it, maybe over here, maybe, but you'll see it, okay? And that's what I'm going to draw. And so we're going to start with really simple shapes. Cool, so now I'm up in the corner. You guys can see me. I got my easel pulled up. I'm blocking partially, but that's okay. I got the camera in the background, but that's okay, right? So you want to look down at your page, look up, look down, look up. You want to see it. That's how close you want it to be. Okay, you don't want to sit, you know, 45-degree angle or 90-degree angle away from it and turn your head, because that's going to throw you off. You don't even really want to turn your head. Okay, once you affix your head in the right position, you just want to look up and down, or better yet, if you can just look with your eyes, that's even better. Okay, you don't want to be looking all around like this, you know, like you're, oh my gosh, look what I'm looking at. Because believe it or not, you can only draw what you're directly looking at. That's going to fit entirely on this page right here, what you're directly looking at. If you start drawing and looking around, you're really tracing things that are going to go far off your page this way, or far off your canvas this way, or far up here. So sometimes you even can take your little hand like this and make a little circle like that. And no, not that. No, I'm not talking about that. And then put it over your eye and look through it. Okay, and that's kind of about what you can draw, what you can paint, what's right there in the speck inside of that little hole right there when you look through it. That's basically your scene, okay? So when you see, like, you know, directors and they're sitting there and they're doing this number right here and, you know, holding their hands up and looking through them, and that's what they're looking at. They're looking at what the camera can really see, because, you know, as a human being, we have all of this peripheral vision, but that's not what a camera sees, okay? And that's not, when you're painting, that's not what you want to see. You want to think like a camera, okay? Now, there's a lot of benefits to drawing in person than to drawing on a picture. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so I got this picture of Balboa Park. Okay, I got it right here, and I want to draw it. Now, I'm looking at the picture, and I can see that some of the straight lines are curved, right? So I'm looking at the hedges and whatnot, and I'm seeing they're not straight, they're curved. And the reason why they're curved is because the camera lens is bending the image around the camera lens, okay? And for whatever reason, this photographer, he took it and he wanted it curved, and he didn't change the f-stop, you know, it's a camera jargon, or change the lens so it wasn't curved. So the lens is actually affecting that image and distorting it slightly. Now, if you want to, you can lean into it and distort it more, or if you can draw it just how you see it, or you can undistort it, okay? But the key here is that we're going to aim for the very, very simple shapes, okay? Very simple shapes. And we want to go in the right order and solve the right problem at the right time. You see what I mean? We want to solve the right problem at the right time. Can you see that still? Okay, great. Get that right, oh, sorry, get that right there. We want to solve the right problem at the right time. I'm going to get this down just a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. Got my eraser right there. We're good to go. All right, so the very, very first thing we want to do is we want to establish the horizontal line. That's going to be our, damn it, I just forgot what it's called. But it's our line where the land is. The horizon line, that's what it's called. I said horizontal, okay? And that's going to separate the sky from the ground, okay? And what I'm doing when I look at it is I'm not thinking about like where the building is. I'm thinking about where the land is that the building's sitting on. So if I look at the building, I use my X-ray vision, because we all got that. Didn't you know that? Like Superman. I'm like X-ray vision like Superman. And I'm looking straight through that building at the land behind it, and I'm guessing where it is. So I think it's about right here, okay? Now I want to draw a line, a little bit of a line for where I think that building is, okay? So I'm thinking that building's right there, okay? I don't know if you guys can see. Let me turn a little bit. That might be a little askew for me, but it'll be good for you, okay? So I got the line for the building. That's just an estimate, okay? And then you really want to do, remember we were talking about simple shapes to abstract shapes to specific shapes when we were talking about drawing people or cartoons or whatever. It's the same principle. You want to start very general. And what you're trying to solve for here is position and proportion, okay? So that's simple, right? Position and proportion. So then there's that first hall is going to be like somewhere right here. The second hall is going to be somewhere like right here, okay? And I'm just looking at it and I'm trying to make simple decisions, okay? So all of this is based off the horizon line. I'm estimating how close the horizon line is to the bottom, and I might need to go a little bit higher. Then I'm estimating how close this hall is to the horizon line, and I'm kind of guessing the angle at which that building is standing. Now, of course, it's not standing at this angle. You know, it's a little bit off center, but that's because the camera is distorting it. And remember, we're just using simple shapes, okay? So the first simple shape is after I get the position and the proportion, now I want to establish the width of that building. I want to establish that hall. We're good right there. Now I'm looking over to the right, I see a tree, okay? A whole big eucalyptus, 2 or 3 eucalyptus trees, and I just establish them as one mass like that, okay? Then I look over at the left, and I see just a little bit of trees, and I kind of establish them as a mass like this, okay? Now, I'm just indicating position and proportion. What I think the position is, what I think the proportion is, okay? Now, next what I want to do is I want to identify where I think my darkest darks are going to be, and of course they're going to be close in the foreground. So I need to draw this square of the first hedge in the foreground. I'm just going to put that as a line. I'm going to start right here at the base of the building is going to be right about there. So I got to go over, and then I got to draw this square. Okay, so the square looks a little bit like that. I'm just judging the angles, and it's okay if you don't get them right first. You can always come back, grab your eraser, and erase it out. Keep the shapes extremely simple at this point. I got the squares running off the paper like this. Keep it extremely simple. The secret to doing this is the extreme simplicity. Okay, like this is just a square right here. It's not even a garden yet. Then we got the hall, we got the square right here. Now what I want to do is I want to establish how tall the first 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 layers in that building, okay? So I know it's a square or a box, so I want to make it a little box like so. Can you guys see that okay? I think you guys can see that okay. If I need to change the angle, I'll change it. Let me see if I can't change the angle a little bit. Get it a little bit better. come in a little bit closer, okay? A little bit closer. Can you see that better? I think you guys can see that better. Still getting all set up. It's a trial and error. Got this camera right in my grill now. You guys can totally see it in the other picture, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. It's more important that you see the drawing than you see the camera, okay? So then we got we're going to put the second layer on there. And it's about right here, like so. I'm just making another small box on top of that box. And then the third layer is a little bit, just maybe half of that, like so. And you want to unify the entire thing. And then the final 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then 4 is right here. And then a little dome, okay? Now, we're not going to worry about everything being perfect, okay? Because remember, we have to do this in a reasonable time frame. A reasonable time frame means within an hour. We want to do this within an hour. And of course, today, I'm doing it faster, okay? I'm doing it faster for the sake of the video. All right, so we have the first hall here. Now we're going to adjust the second hall. It's about, there's a wall right here that kind of goes up and then down right about there, and then it goes out. And I'm just guessing. I'm just guesstimating all this stuff, okay? I'm drawing over the trees, then I'm redoing the trees, reimagining the trees. And if you want, you can kind of hold your arm out like this and always keep your arm straight, and then use your thumb to gauge the height. And then you can use that to gauge a little bit of the distance, like I'm doing right here, okay? Now this could stand to be a lot taller, so I'm looking at that, and I'm realizing that needs to be a lot taller, so we're going to go, needs to be up to here, okay? So we're going to do that. We're going to come up here like so. 1, 2. We're being real non-committal with these lines, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the dome's going to be right there, okay? We're going to widen this guy out just a little bit. We're going to fatten him up, and then consequently the other line, okay? And we're just kind of scrumbling around, you know? Kind of looking. We're going to put a line down the middle to align everything properly, all right? And just give yourself a break. It's no big deal. It's going to be fine. Okay, this is the first one. We're breaking everything in. Now I'm looking at the buildings behind it. Looks like something like this. And I'm looking at the buildings on the other side behind it. Looks like something like this. Now I'm noticing the tree is a lot closer over here, and it actually goes up to about the first layer, like so. Comes down with this hard edge right here. And I got the gardens running like that right there. And then we have one palm tree. Okay, now there's a palm tree that runs right in front of the building. All right, the Tower of California Tower, and I don't like that, right? And since I don't like it, I'm going to take it out. Okay, I'm going to put this other palm tree in that I do like. He's going to be like right about here and right about there, like so. And that's what we got. Okay, we got that right about so, like that. Okay, we can readjust this. There we go. Okay, we got the foundational pieces laid in just about. Now I'm going to come back down here to the hedge, and I'm going to put in the darkest dark of the hedge that runs right about where this building. So I need to adjust that. And that's what it is. You're going to dance around the page and adjust as you go. Okay? And if you feel like, oh, I don't feel certain, I don't feel stable, well, don't worry about it, because you're not supposed to feel stable. Everything is supposed to be movable right now. Okay? Now we're just going to go ahead and color this in so we can see that. We can see it clearly. And then we got the hedge going off this direction, like so. All right? Right here. And this is just the first round of this drawing, okay? The second round is when we're going to actually put the inks in, right? And so we're going to have that other opportunity to further change and modify the drawing. So I got the first hedge right there. Now I'm seeing a couple of other hedges back here.
which is fine. So we're going to go ahead and just put some of that in, and being sure to leave a bright spot on top of this edge right here. I'm just going to run my eraser like so, and then we have this part of the wall that's underneath the tree right here is dark. So I'm just gonna fill that in. Notice how I'm not trying to fill in bits and pieces of it. I'm filling in the whole thing, right? So on that wall with the arches in it, it's really nice. It's just a big long square, but it transitions from darkness to light over here, which is very nice for us. Okay, it's gonna add a nice effect in the final drawing, final rendering. Now I got this this tree right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on top. Put a couple of shapes up there, like so. All right. We got a little bit of the light sticking through. No big deal. Okay. Now remember, this is a sketch that you're supposed to be able to do. Say for example, if you're out with your date or whatever, you guys are at Balboa Park, and you want to say sit down and sketch something while she's drinking coffee or whatever, and then you know, you can have a memory for the day. So it's not meant to take forever, and it's not meant to be painful either. Okay, you don't want it painful, right? You want it to be enjoyable. You want to enjoy it. You want her to enjoy it, or him, if you're whatever. If you're have a him date, maybe you have a himbo date, and that's cool. So we got the other tree over here. Okay, now over here we got just some little bits and pieces of, you know, detail. We'll save that for when we do the pin. We're going to do the pin rendering. Okay, so we also have a little bit of flowers down here, and the flowers down here are in a grid format. Okay, so we're going to look at how the grid works and put the diagonals according to the perspective and how they go. Okay, so on here is going to be, you know, some flowers, and so we'll go ahead and denote where we think the flowers will be. That doesn't mean that's where they are. That just gives us a nice frame of reference for when we come back and utilize our inks, our darks, in order to make it cool. Okay. Now, I know there's no clouds in my picture, right? There's no clouds out there. But let me go ahead and put a couple clouds in here, because everybody loves a couple clouds. You can make them cartoony clouds, or you can make them real clouds, or stylish clouds, or, you know, it's up to you. And that's really the power of an artist, is like, you know, to control the emotion that I want to give to the viewer. I can add or subtract things. You know, editing is a very strong power. And so if we have this cloud barely touching, you know, this tower here, that's going to draw a lot of attention to it. And everybody's going to love it and hate it at the same time. And that's really what we want. We want them to love it and hate it at the same time. Now notice I didn't bother with any details. I didn't draw any windows. I didn't draw any arches. This is the basic underlaying of this drawing. Just right there, just like that, boom. Now if you wanted to, you could leave it right there and say, call it a day. Because then you could also take it home and finish it up if you wanted to, or you know, if your girlfriend or your wife or your kids or whatever are like, oh, I need you now, you know. But if you got extra time, you can go ahead to the second process. Now, we're going to be drawing this the second time. So this is the second pass, you know, and so what we want to do here is focus on the lights, okay? The light areas that we want to leave untouched by the ink, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this palm tree, because it's going to overlap over some of this arch right here, this archway, okay? So I'm going to leave the inside. Now notice I'm not drawing with a continuous line, right? I'm doing just a couple lines here and there, all right? And that gives a little sketchy kind of feel. And also, you know, this is how we see. We don't see in constant line. We see with broken line. You know, we see with shadows that are visible and edges that come and they go, you know. And so we're gonna work on some of this tree right here and have them come down into the nice hall right there, and we can go in here and do the outline of it. And the broken lines actually create the edge that we want, because you know, when you're looking through the trees, it's very soft. It's a very soft edge. Okay? So we got some of that soft edge, and we're going to go ahead and mimic some of leave the leaves and the shapes and the trees, and you know, don't forget to leave some of those white parts, you know, for the tops of the trees. Now, if you squint your eyes at it, then that's really how you see the value structure. Okay, so squint your eyes at your image, and that's the real value structure. You want to squint your eyes so that your eyelashes overlap your eye, and when you do that, it reduces all of the details so that you can see the basic underlying of the image, and that's very, very important. Okay, it's very, very important. So then we have the top of the hall right here, right? And then right now is when we can kind of put in a couple of dots to go along this top of the hall. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in some of these arches. And the arches don't have to be perfect, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the arches being perfect. Just put them in there. What you're actually doing when you do this is adding the human touch, you know, when they're not perfect, okay? It makes it look more fun. And then we're going to come up here. We're just going to do some of these clouds, you know, and have a good time doing the clouds. Just scrumble around is what they call it. Just scumble. It's just scrumble and scribble. Do a little bit of that cloud. We'll come over here. We'll do this cloud over here. Can you guys see that? I keep forgetting to check up and make sure you guys can see. We're just scrumbling around. We're just having a good time. Feeling as we go. Okay, just feeling it as we go. And of course the clouds, if there were clouds, they'd be probably moving pretty fast anyway. So you're going to have to just look up, take a glance, take it in, feel it, and then go from there. Okay. Now, we're going to come over to our center point, or our, that's going to make this whole picture even interesting, and it's going to be the tower. So we're going to do a couple of lines for the main part of the tower, and then we're going to come up. We're going to adjust. I'm adjusting the point of view or the perspective as I go, so that I can get a better, you know, closer image. And my computer just fucking grows, so I'm gonna do that. All right, we're back. Okay, and then you know, we're just gonna go up here. And I like to put 1 or 2 lines if I'm not sure. You know, if I'm not really sure of where it should be, I'll put 2 lines and then reinforce the one that I want. If that makes sense. I'll reinforce it. You know, bring that up a little bit. And that's how you can move around your lines pretty easily. And I'm obviously going to move this around. So 1, 2, 3, and then we got one more for 4. I'm trying to center them over this. Right here like that, and then a little dome on top, and I think that's a cross. And we got it like that, looking like that. Okay, so now we're going to leave him alone. We got him nice and established. Now we're going to carry on this line for the top of that hall as it goes right here, and what we see is we see this other hall coming off like this. And it's okay if you know, you actually drew a line too far. It's part of the allure of this type of drawing, you know, is that whimsy, that whimsicalness. You know, now I'm drawing at a little bit of an angle, so if it gets crazy, that's what's going to happen. You know, so I'm going to draw the dark shape of this tree and this ivy that's growing over here. Go like that. We got a couple of different, like, just a couple of different branches of trees with some foliage on it. That looks really cool. Going to keep it stylized. Like so. We got some of this just popping up over the line of the roof. You can see the roof just right through there. Okay. And then we're gonna go from this position right here. We're gonna knock out some of these square shapes that I'm seeing inside of the right underneath the ivy, or whatever that is. I don't know if it's ivy. Maybe it's not ivy. It could be something else. And then we're gonna come right here where we meet the top of the hedge. Okay. So I'm noticing that there's a stair step of the hedges, which makes sense because it's a little bit of a maze. Then I'm seeing that there's some more bushes and stuff over here, some trees. Now be careful to keep the proportion accurate to what you're doing. Don't zoom in and get focused on it. You'll blow your proportion off. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some of these fun little things in the background. This is really fun because I think that's the museum of man way in the background there. And of course, I love the buildings in the Museum of Man. Gonna put a couple palm trees in there. Put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A couple more things in there. And this is the kind of sketch that really lends itself to a very good wash of watercolor. And you can be very whimsical with it. Got a little palm tree right there. That's really cute, sitting right there. And got some more palm trees over here, some more bushes and whatnot. Okay, now we're coming down here to the top part of the hedgerows. Okay, so I'm just gonna connect it right there, like so. And then I'm noticing some of the hedges, so I want to give a small indication of the shadows on the hedges. I'm just going to do a double line right there. And I can pick and choose as I want when I going through later at which line I want to reinforce, okay, if any. Okay, so we got the darkness of the hedgerow right here. We're going to go ahead and bring that across like so, across the foreground of the garden. I'm lowering it just a bit so I have a little bit more room for the light part of the hedge up here, because I want to stack more right there, more hedges above it. And we're going to lower this part of the hedge. Now I don't want to do a straight line. I want to leave the lines broken, okay? Because remember, variance or variation is what gives you that feeling of life, okay? You don't want everything to be the same. If everything's the same, then it's not real. It doesn't feel real. It feels very computer, very fake. Okay, and that's really the secret of fine art. All right. So I got this other hedge right here, running in the foreground. Let me hold that up. Running in the foreground right here, like so, somewhere around there. Okay. Now what I got to do is I got to come in here and do this foreground of the flowers. Now what I want to do is I want to grab a Sharpie to do that, a larger brush, or else I'll be here all day. So now we're going to start going a lot faster, okay people? So we're going to grab this, we're going to set it up here. Maybe I have some, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll put my eraser down. Oh, look how smart I am. Okay. So now we're going to come in here, we're going to put in the dirt, and we're going to leave some room for these flowers so that if I come over later and watercolor with it, it'll look right. Now, I don't want this tone to be the darkest tone, because the darkest tone is right here in the hedges. Okay, this is the darkest tone. So let me establish that first. Like, that's what I should be doing, establishing the darkest tone of the hedges, like so, and then the dark tone of the hedges right here, like so. Okay, and then we got the dark tone back here, like that. Let me put one more in here, like that. Okay. Now let me come in here and, like I said, establish this dirt. Now I'm just doing some lackadaisical. I'm not trying to shade the whole thing, because I'm envisioning that I'll come back and do this as a watercolor, and I'll let the brown of the watercolor, you know, fill in these spaces around the black where I leave it, and then I'll paint the flowers as well. Okay, so that's why I'm not putting a tremendous amount of detail into the dirt or the flowers. And we're running on 33 minutes, so I'm trying to get out of here pretty quick. I know you got things to do, I got things to do, I got lunch to eat and all kinds of things like that. Okay, so now that I got this fun stuff established, right, it looks pretty fun. I'm going to come back with the smaller Sharpie. That was the medium, this is the small, and I'm going to put some of this in here like so. Okay, now I'm looking over here and I'm seeing that there's a little bit of shadow inside of each one of these arches, and it's at this time that you can use the shadow to move the arch if you want it, if you want to move it. Okay, if you want to draw over one of the lines or whatever. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and use this Sharpie to kind of bring some of the shadow in here. That's going to be pretty dark, but that's okay. Don't use it as a solid color, but use it broken, okay? because the solid black, you don't want to be any blacker than this because it'll compete with the depth perception. If you make it as black as this, you're going to flatten out your image. So in order not to make it that black, you use just cross-hatching concepts, okay, like this right here. Just a little bit of cross-hatching, okay, like so. Now I'm looking for the next areas where there's going to be dark, and that's what I'm doing. I'm playing a game of Jenga, where I'm just looking through and seeing where the darkest places are, and then I'm going in and attacking those, okay. And I got some shadow up here, and then I got some dark windows back here, and see how the dark window next to the cylinder right there, or the support structure, what is that called? You know, the cylinder right here supports the stuff. What is it called? The Greek, hell, I forgot what it's called, but it's on. Then we can go in here and do another one, like, oh, you know, and it's okay if it doesn't get right. Just kind of estimate it with your eye. And what you're doing is you're practicing estimating. That's why you don't want to use a ruler. You don't want to use a straight edge. You want to use your mind, and you want to estimate. Okay, you want to try to get it just right. Now I'm going to come back down here with the fine, and since we have this established, I can better determine how dark to make the trees. Okay, so now we'll come back in here and we'll cross-hatch and fill in the trees, as the trees should be darker. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Then we got a little bit of a transition right here in the shadow. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to come over here and do some more of this tree right here. Maybe a little bit of the shadow in the foreground of the maze of the hedges. Okay. Oh, columns. These are support columns. I knew it would come to me. Support columns, okay? Support, and then we got more hedges back here, like that. And see, now that you can see the difference between how dark the marker is and how versus the fine, you can more confidently put in the darks with your fine Sharpie instead of, you know, being worried that, oh my God, it's going to be too dark. So now is the time when we want to put in these little details like the windows, because now they fit. Now we can accurately judge how light or how dark they are, okay? And don't worry if you don't get it right. Don't stress about it. The more you don't stress, the better your drawing is going to be, okay? The more you don't stress, the better your drawing is going to be. Put in some little horizontals like that. Do the same thing on the other side. And I'm not going to worry about the shadow side over here because it's way too light compared to the darkest darks that I got. I'd have to cross hatch and all that. And like I said, the next thing we want to do is do a little bit of a watercolor on this fella. Okay, we're going to put these in there. Little windows. There's another line up here. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. There's a little bit of line right here. Okay, and then the belfry tower or whatever you want to call it. It's like a hex or a pentagram, or that's the type of building or shape of that room. Then we got the nice little dome on top with a little bit of a window right there. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to straighten up the lines on the base to give it more of a strong connection to the ground. I'm going to do a couple more palm trees back here. Do a little bit of scrumbling and give it a little bit more of that outline of a tree. Do the same thing over here. These are kind of just the finishing touches because we pretty much got everything else that we wanted already complete out of this, okay? And I'm adjusting the picture as I go along. I know that's not really a straight line. It could be straighter, but that doesn't matter. That's not what we're going for here, okay? Now I can see a little bit of something through there, through that arch, and the same thing on this arch because I like how it captures that light like that. So I'm going to leave that light captured through, and I'm going to simplify it. Okay, I'm going to simplify what I see. That's really a big trick. Now, notice how much nicer that looks now that I put that light on the other side popping through that arch with that shadow. It looks like it's really there. okay? And I think that's probably about as far as we're going to take this. Now, what you can do is you can grab your eraser, you know, and let me go ahead and erase it so you can see what it looks like, okay? Now be careful when you erase it. Make sure your ink is dry. Now I know the Sharpie is dry really fast, so that's why I wasn't worried about it. But maybe you're using a different kind of ink. Be careful, okay? Be careful with it. So we're going to erase this guy up. And also don't forget to sign it. Put the date on it, okay? So there we go. I think I got it pretty good erased. There we go. We got a nice little, I can erase better down there. Because that's where I'm going to sign it, right here. Okay, so get your fine boy out, or whatever you want to sign it with, and you just sign it right along. And today is, I like to put the date on it. There you go. So it's ready to go. Oh, there you go. So it's ready to go. We got our California Tower at Balboa Park, and we're gonna next we'll do a couple more, and then we'll watercolor, and you'll see how much more life it comes to life. You see how much more endearing and how much more romantic those soft lines are. Okay, it looks more like a fine art piece than a photograph or something like that, and it really is designed to inspire whimsy and invite the imagination to come on a journey and imagine what a day there would be like, you know, if you were visiting. So, and hopefully we'll get to go there in person and paint. I'll make some videos. That'll be a lot of fun. But that's how easy it can be. That's how easy it can be. It's a very fun process. It can be cathartic. You're supposed to get in the zone, get in the flow state. You have to have that critical eye locked away. You can't let the critical eye out right now, because he's going to beat the shit out of you. And here's what happens. If he beats the shit out of you, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be sitting there painting or drawing, okay? Anxiety will begin to grow inside of you. As that anxiety grows, it destroys your ability to paint and draw. Then that causes more anxiety, which causes even more of a bad piece of art. I mean, you forget how to even breathe when that happens, you know? And then think about this. When you're out and about, and if you're painting out, or if you're drawing or whatever you're doing, you're always going to gather a crowd of people. It's always going to happen. They're always going to want to come and look. They're going to want to come and, you know, whatever. And then, you know, some idiots are going to want to talk to you. Oh, well, what kind of blue do you use? Oh, well, I like cobalt blue. Well, you know, I like Corellian blue. And you're like, bitch, I'm trying to fucking work here. What are you doing? And they always want to, you know, it's because, you know, when they see you out there, they're inspired, and that thing inside of them resonates with it, and they wish they were painting, so they want to come in and they want to participate with you by giving you advice. Okay, don't listen to them, but keep that critical eye locked up. All right, just smile at them. The reason why you smile at them is because they could turn around in the next breath and say, hey, how much is that? I'd like to buy it. And you say, well, it's for sale right now. Here you go, $100. You know, boom, that's all yours, $100 right there. Boom, doesn't that look nice? This right here is a memory. If you're at Balboa Park and you're on a date, you're with the family, you're by yourself, whatever, this is a memory. Okay? Memories are priceless. You got me? Memories are priceless. There's a lot of painters that we're going to talk about over these 30 days. Lelou is one of them. He's one that a lot of people don't know about. Okay, he painted all over in France in gouache. Okay, he did a whole bunch of Parisian landscape. Jean Lelou is, I think, is his name. Okay, Edward Cortez is another one. He painted all over France in oils, and I think England too. A whole bunch of stuff. Thomas Kincaid really ripped off his style and made it, you know, cartoon version of it. Very famous. I was at a art. You know, what was it? It was a big art show in L.A. in you know, all over in the you know, the not the Coliseum, but you know, in the expo, right? It was, you know, this big huge warehouse, right? That a whole bunch of vendors come and they set up all their art, a whole bunch of you know, galleries, a whole bunch of everybody, right? And Jerome Lelou, he's long since dead. You know, he was around the 1800s, okay? He paints this size right here, This size right here, okay? And it's gouache. It's not even oil. It's gouache, okay? What that tells you is that most of the time, oil fetches the highest price all the time in galleries, okay? But John Leloup, I'll have to, I forget his name. Something this price, in a frame, the frame was this big. Okay, how much you think that goes for? At that time, 10 years ago, it was $65,000 for this. For this. I'll try to flash up some images to show you guys what it looks like, okay? Edward Cortez, if you look up his paintings, they're even more. All right, they're in oil. They're even more. But that just goes to show you, okay? These things are priceless. Right? You don't realize that because you're sitting there and you're doing it and it doesn't cost you anything. Like, you don't think it costs you anything. But it costs you years of your life to be able to do this. Years of your life. And you know it because you just did it, right? You know how precise, how much you have to handle your vessel, your physical self, in order to channel that creativity, to capture that moment in time, sitting at Balboa Park, painting or drawing or inking the California Tower. You know that, okay? So it's priceless, okay? Now, of course, I'm saying I'm try to sell this for pricelessness. I can't get that, but we'll get whatever we can get. But I'm telling you, like, from a mental standpoint, you should look at it as if it were priceless, okay? Now I want you to get out there. Now, if you want to get out there, get out there. But if you want to sit in your studio today, sit in your studio today and pull up a picture on your computer, your phone. A lot of times I'll set my phone up, right? And get one of these exercises in, okay? Get one of these exercises in. Because pretty soon we're going to be going out there. I want you to get this first week of exercises in, people. And then we're out there in the world, okay? I ain't trying to drop you in the deep end. I'm trying to give you a week to get out there. And when we get out there, if you can't do it all, fine, but just do the simple shapes. Everybody can draw a square. Everybody can draw a rectangle. Everybody can find the horizon line and draw it right there and then guess at a square on top of it, and then guess at a square below it. Everybody can do it. That's all I'm asking. That's all you got to do. That's the starting point. That's where you build. That's where you kick ass. Let's fucking go.